There we go. Starting. Receiving content. Let's put this. Can't spill. Post to Facebook. I'm going to do it one more time. Get the Atari group. And I'll grab one home theater group. Okay, let's see here. We are live. We've been live for a minute.
Awesome.
Okay, let's start off then. Yes, everybody, you won't be seeing me here. I'll be talking. So, anyways,
this is to look at the back of his head.
Yeah, you get to look at the back of my head. So, Brian, tell me when anything's out of whack. Anyways, welcome to the Man Cave Cinema Radio. My name is John.
My name is Brian.
And this is episode 3 of MCC Radio, and today we're going to be talking about
Man Caves
and
Lady Lofts.
Yes, lady. We can't forget the girls.
Well, we're calling it that for now until somebody comes up with something better, or maybe we come up with something better, or I don't know. We just haven't had any feedback yet. So,
well, tell me the story how you found out about Lady Loft. I like that.
Well, I like to go on YouTube and look at a lot of video game. I don't know. You call them YouTubers, and so there's this one. His name's Metal Jesus Rocks. He's kind of cool. Kind of looks like me. Listens to the same kind of music. Likes the old games, and he's in the States, so you know. And he had this one actual female on showing off her what she called Lady Loft, and I thought that sounded cool because we were contemplating this for a while now.
Yeah,
like what do you call? And some of the ideas came out. You know, She Cave was one of yours.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Girls didn't really like that one.
That was the worst one.
Yeah, it sounds weird. And when I heard Lady Loft, I'm like, that sounds cool. That actually sounds better than Man Cave because you know when you hear the word Man Cave, you're thinking of this like dirty, sweaty place where this guy's just.
Well, not necessarily. Look, everybody, this is not sweaty and
We're working on it. But, you know, but that's what, you know, the mental picture you get is this man in his cave and, you know, the dark lighting and, actually it kind of sounds like my man cave right now. But I mean, Lady Loft sounds so sophisticated to me. It sounds much better. It sounds, you know, women seem to do things better, I guess. I don't know. But
that's true in some sense. Yes, absolutely.
And there's question, you know, like do women need that? Because in most cases, the reason why we have a man cave is because our stuff ends up in the basement, right? When you have a house and you have a wife and kids and all that, where does your fun stuff end up going? Typically in your cave, and that's about it, and the rest is to the woman. So. Do they need it? Because
no, but I don't know. Yeah, girls do have lady lofts. Yeah, like a lot of people have like sewing room. Now I'm going old school. I'm going old school here. Okay, old school.
Old man.
Yeah, you know, sewing rooms and what have you. But now the girls are into video games.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them now. They actually have better setups than I do, and they have all the video games all the consoles set up. They have bitchin' man caves in a sense, right? So. You know, whether they actually want to call it a lady loft or not, whatever. You know, it's a way to get away from that man only type of mentality.
Yeah, but I think a lot of our fans and followers understand that.
Yeah,
you know, they totally understand that. Just man cave has become this sort of synonymous pulp culture name that everybody uses across the board, type of thing.
Exactly,
and that's why I picked it for a name, right?
Yeah.
Plus, it stands out a little bit more. Before we get started, let's do some housekeeping items. I'd like to thank, first of all, the Buy Mine, Sell Yours, David Morrison, I think it is his name. Yes, he'll probably kill me and yell at me. But anyways, I got from his store this beautiful mic stand and this shock mount for the blue microphone. I got it from his store. I mean, they got cool stuff, okay, plain and simple. They're in Toronto, actually Mississauga. So if you're in the Toronto area and you need to pick up stuff, check it.
Right in Clarkson.
Yep.
If you've been to Clarkson, very beautiful place. Lots of great stuff there, lots of great stores, and it's right off the waterfront. So it's a really nice place. If you're down in, if you're in Mississauga, if you're in the area, check them out. They're really awesome.
So yeah, thanks to Dave for all this. Second of all, you wrote an interesting little article about the video game ET, and you contacted somebody special. You want to let everybody know that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to write about games that mean something to me. I don't just want to be one of those reviewers that just picks up a random game and just writes about it. So a lot of the games that I write about are my personal experience in the game and why I like the game or why I did like the game. And so it's not necessarily a review on the actual gameplay itself. I might throw a little bit in there. So I always kind of write about what I liked about the game. And this particular game is quite notorious for being, worst video game ever, stuff like that. Part of the video game crash, which
is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where people just jump on the bandwagon and they're like, yeah, it broke.
Yeah, so, but the thing is, Brian, a lot of the later articles that came along were people who weren't even alive when the fucking game came out.
They didn't even see the movie. They don't know nothing about the game. They don't know nothing about Atari.
It's not fair to judge it on that merit.
So so I didn't want to write that kind of article. I wanted to write about my own experiences when I was a kid and when I first saw the game and how it reacted to I reacted to it and how I always wanted the game and stuff like that. So I thought I'm just going to take a shot here and I'm going to email Howard Scott Warshaw, the guy who actually created the game, and he was an amazing guy because he did what nobody did back then, and even today nobody would be that brave to say I'm going to make this big game that's going to get released for Christmas time and we're only going to do it in like 6 weeks. He just pushed the limit.
Wasn't it 4? Was it 6 weeks or 4 weeks?
I think it was 6. It could have been 4. Regardless, he did it in much less time than anybody else. So I just thought, hey, I'm just going to send it off to him. I don't even know if he'll even get it, if he'll even open up the email, if he even give it crap anymore. I didn't know. I sent it off. I just fired it off, and I was like, whatever. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And he actually replied back, and I thought that was cool. Like, he really liked the article, and he left his little Yars Truly, which I thought was kind of funny. He also did Yars Revenge, one of the best games on the 2600.
Which I was playing yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
And I still suck at it bad. I still need to get practice, but I was playing yesterday.
But it was small. Like, he just sent me a little email back, and I was just like, wow. He actually wrote back to me. He actually read my article. I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I got excited there.
But so did I. I was amazed that you went ahead and did that.
Yeah. Well, I took a chance and.
No, exactly. What's the worst thing going to happen? That he's not going to read it and you won't get a response back.
The last time he's probably been in any kind of spotlight as far as that game, other than maybe going to a video game show, would have been when they did the Atari Game Over, which is on
documentary on Netflix.
Not Netflix right now, and he's on there, and that was 2 years ago, maybe 3
years ago, I think. Yeah,
with the whole dig where they found all the.
But you know what? I look back at that video, and I've seen it like twice now, or that documentary.
Yeah.
And I feel so fucking sorry for the guy because he's standing there, waiting for them to dig it up, and it's like his whole life, his whole past is unraveling in front of him.
Yeah.
Even though there's like legions of fans behind him and next to him, it's just like, oh my God, man, how can you go through this? Like, I feel so bad for him because he got, jumped all over because the game supposedly was bad. He got jumped all over for whatever other reasons. But at
the same time, he was behind some of the best games out for the Atari. He didn't work for Activision, keep that in mind. He worked for Atari. And how many really good Atari games are there? Like, actually from Atari. Right?
And they're all his.
Yeah.
They're all his, but the problem I've noticed working in that corporate industry is that if you pull off a couple of miracles in your career, then you're expected to pull a miracle every time.
That's probably why they went to him. They were like, you know what, you got some of the better games, you can do it. And he didn't even hesitate. He's like, I'll do it.
But the thing is, it didn't come off as well, and then his career just took a nosedive.
Well, I mean, that's yeah. I mean,
no, but that's unfortunate. It shouldn't happen. One mistake and it kills your career.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I would just say that he took a chance, and the whole industry at that point was going on a downward spiral. So I don't think it was really his fault.
No, but internally in the company, he's not like the go-to guy anymore.
No, he's doing something completely different. Like I looked at his website, and I looked at that's where I found him, and he's doing something like entirely out of scope from what he did. So obviously he's moved on and changed careers, and he's doing something different.
He's doing psychology actually for people in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Like spiritual help and stuff like. So he's moved on, and he's it's not like his life went to shit and he's like laying in a basement somewhere going, oh my life.
No, he has it, but still, for somebody who's that good to get kind of the bum rap, it's not fair.
Yeah, it was.
And then for him standing there in front of the dig, and I just my heart broke for him type of thing.
The game is still good. So and I've been playing it for the last couple of days, and I even put one on Facebook a few days ago. Of a screenshot of me running away from the FBI guy, and
yes,
and I'm not good at the game. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I'm playing it all the time now. I'm trying to get good at it, but I'm still it's hard. It's difficult. So
yeah, it was meant to be hard. None of those games were meant to be easy. They're all meant to be hard. Okay, let's go back on course to our main topic. Man caves. Okay, folks, there's different kinds of man caves. Brian and I come for two different portions of the man cave part. I'm more home theater, as you can see here, right? Brian is more of the sort of video game collector, comic book collector, and setting up a room where you have everything set up. For instance, even some people that posted on our site that we posted for them some of their collections, and it's like a freaking museum. Yeah. You walk into their place and they got
or an arcade.
Or an arcade. Yeah, well, exactly. That's the other part I was going to get to. Like, people are picking up cabinets expensively, mind you. But if you got the cash, that's great. But they're setting it up in their basement, and they're creating like a miniature arcade. Like, how would you love to have, maybe 10 cabinets in this room, let's say, and have the Flynn's, neon sign from Tron up on the wall? I mean, that would be a perfect man cave.
Yeah, and this is where we come down to what is considered a man cave, and that's where the lines cross. Because I've spoken with a few people on Facebook who I've sent. I've asked them if they want to post their thing on Facebook, and if they want to post on our website. And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not finished," or "This isn't really a man cave. This is just where I play video games," or stuff like that. I'm like, a man cave is it's not a specific thing, right? It could be any kind of room, essentially, or a space where you feel at most ease, where you have your stuff that you really feel comfortable. And another thing that I've been discussing with people on Facebook. There's some single people who say, I don't have a man cave because I live alone, or I just live in an apartment. And I was actually just having a discussion with someone on Friday about this. And I said, well, it's all perception, first of all. And second of all, just because you live alone doesn't mean you can't have that one space that you really enjoy to be in.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, you live alone. You have a kitchen. You have a bathroom. The toilet is not a man cave, okay?
It could be.
It could be if you want it to be.
Like weird. You said,
it's kind of weird, but yeah, if you really want a man cave, it could be anywhere, right? It could be an office. It could be like John's got his in his basement, and he's got it's set up more like a sitting area than that mine right now is. It's not that comfortable. It's a chair. And a couple of tables set up with all my favorite video game systems all hooked up, ready to go. I got my cartridges there. Prior to that, I used to play a lot of card games, so I had a lot of cards there, and it was like my area where I just sat there working on my cards, and always hearing my wife yell at me upstairs to come upstairs.
Oh, I know
what
that
are you
feeling
doing
well.
Down there? Come upstairs. But that was my place of escape. It might not look pretty, Like a lot of the ones we were posting on our website look gorgeous, and people are obviously spending money, or they're spending time, and they're making it look really nice.
Yeah.
And I would like to. I mean, before my daughter was born, I used the room that she's in now, and that was my man cave, to say. I mean, it was just my wife and I, and we had a couch, we had a coffee table in there, I had a wall unit set up, I had my TV, I had all my video game systems all ready to go pull out, and I would just go in there whenever I was, I just felt like playing games. I'd go in there, and it was comfortable. Now it's not so much, because it's in a we don't have a finished basement, so you go downstairs, it's kind of dark, there's not a lot of lighting, and it's just a swivel chair, like an office chair, and it's not the most inviting place.
But all the places start off like that,
yeah,
Brian. All of them start off that. I mean, my basement here, it was one of those dark, dank, sort of painted cement floor, and it used to be a storage area until we sort of outgrew the space that was upstairs, the official family room. We moved everything downstairs, so I was able to build up and put up all the speakers on all the walls, except for the front ones. You can see speaker wires hanging. So you home theater fanatics, tough shit. Wires showing, big deal. So yeah, I mean, what I wanted to do first of all was, see, when you're designing a home theater, there's a whole bunch of rules of thumbs that people want you to follow. For instance, like Dolby or whoever who creates these specs, but sometimes it's just not feasible. Okay, like putting up a couch up against a wall with the surround speakers there is a big no-no. And the home theater Illuminati, the people who are overly OCD on this stuff, will start screaming and yell at you that it won't work. Well, you know what? Because I have the couch up against the wall, it gave me more space that you could see right in front of the TV here for the kids to hang out when they were younger. I mean, that was the point, was for them to have space to play. Because the house is kind of small, and this was the biggest room, so we wanted to do that. But to get around the surround sound thing, and I'm not going to move the camera because it's just going to be a mess, I put up dipole speakers that the null sits in between your ears up along the couch. And to be quite honest with you, the surround effect is phenomenal. No, and people can argue with me and tell me, no, that's not the right way. You should get, single, front firing speakers for it, blah, blah. Not bullshit. There's different ways of getting around things. And that's, I love home theater. And I love sitting down watching a movie and getting just blasted, especially when I bought my new subwoofer. Everybody can see it back there, my SVS subwoofer. Okay, finally have something that can really knock the house around. And the way it's set up, and the time I took to set it up properly, and yes, I used the automatic calibration microphone that came with my receiver, and everything sounds phenomenal. And for me, that's what it is. It sounds phenomenal. I don't want to compare it to some other guys, $30,000, $50,000 home theater set up by a professional, blah blah blah, and it sounds like that is great.
It's
but
great, if you could afford it.
But this is what I like. This is the thing I like. It has to be more of a sitting and relaxing area than a theater. Like, even thinking, like, honestly, Brian, and I've thought about this a lot in the past. You see these designers that they design these wicked home theaters that actually look like movie theaters with the steps and everything.
I think someone in our man caves actually has one.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of people who do that. And they have the projector going, and they got a 125-inch screen going. But at the same time, it's like, that's great if I want to sit down and watch a movie. But what happens if I just want to see some stupid reality show? Am I going to fire up all that shit? No.
It seems like it's more for entertaining too, right? You want to invite all your friends over and have them sit down and be like, enjoy my huge system.
Yeah, but you know what? That causes problems too. It causes jealousy amongst your friends. Well, that's the problem.
Unless they have one too, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if they have one too, it's great. But the thing is, you invite people over, they go, oh, this is nice. And then they walk into the house, what a fucking show off. And I've gone through that. And it's like, I don't invite anybody anymore. If the kids want to invite their friends over and watch movies, that's great. That's actually fun. But for me, it's, it's what I like.
And what's the social aspect of that too, right? you might as well just go to a movie theater at that point.
Well, exactly.
And-
So that's why I find it hard to have a dedicated home theater. And then Liam Neeson, one of the home theater magazines, they did an article on him and his wife before she died, when she had that weird skiing accident.
Yeah.
They took, and literally the article was published maybe 2 months before she died. It was really weird. But this was like years back.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, they took pictures of his home theater, and his home theater was a loft in his house. It had sort of like... People from Arizona and New Mexico will know this. The multicolored sort of fabric couches and stuff like that. They had a projector. They had speakers, but not in the wall. Right? They just had the front speakers were just like me, just sitting up front, and then they had the surround stuff in the wall. They had a projector, but then the projector can be rolled up and just watch normal TV. But it didn't have, the home theater seating. It just had one big giant L-shaped couch.
Which sounds to me more comfortable.
Exactly. So yeah, for them to be actors and to watch movies for maybe whatever reason, because they like it or they're doing research or whatever, they can sit back and relax in just a normal spot. And his wife was like super happy about that. It was more inviting that way than anything else.
Yeah, well, in my cave, for instance, like I have a TV down there. I've actually, since they've implemented this digital thing for people who are in Canada who use Rogers. I don't know about the rest of North America, but they've implemented a digital cable thing. So no longer can you, like in the old days when you used to plug your TV into the wall.
Yeah, it's all gone.
And you got those little rabbit ear boop, 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 boop things, and I remember doing that as a kid. Like, come on, I need channel 4. Come on, so you can't do that anymore, right? You can't just plug a TV. But then if you had cable, like we have cable, digital cable. And I have the box upstairs in our actual living room area where we watch TV and stuff. And I was able to have my TV downstairs with just the cable wire plugged in without a box, and I got about 20 channels, and I was happy. I was like, if I was down there, normally I would have on the news or something, and I'd be doing my own thing. I didn't care.
Is the downstairs TV analog?
Yeah, like
okay.
It's an older, like one of those big
tube TVs,
over 30 years old, and so. I didn't have much TV, but then they canceled that piece of technology, and they said, no, now you need this special little box, and it was free from Rogers. I had to order it, but I had to go and get it mailed, and so I didn't have a TV down there for a while, and I didn't care. This was my place that I wanted to play games, or I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just sit down and watching TV. But that's me. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other people have a different opinion.
Yeah, of course.
But for me, that's where I got my Atari hooked up, and my Intellivision and my ColecoVision, because those systems love those old TVs. And I've hooked them up to my big flat screen. I have a big flat screen TV and all that stuff, modern thing. At first, I thought there's no way I'm going to plug in my Intellivision and it's going to work, and it did. But
it was very snowy, right?
Not really, but the ratio was a little bit off. It was kind of funky looking. It's wider.
Yeah.
The Intellivision's supposed to be square, and so and the setup is different. So upstairs we have our TV, and then we got this mile-long carpet, and then we got like the sofas on the wall, and these older systems were designed to be played almost in front of the TV with the system on your lap or 2 feet away from you, right? I used to use a TV table when I was a kid, and it would just sit there or on the coffee table, and so you only need a little bit of wire, and so this new setup I have, it really just doesn't work. Like I have to sit on the floor, and I'm almost 40. When I sit on the floor, it hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can't read you. Like if you've seen it in television, it's on like an old telephone cord thing. Like they're not wireless by any means, and if you tried to sit back, your whole system would come flying at you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. So down in my cave, I have tables set up, and I have all the systems lying right in front of me, and then I can I'm still working on trying to figure out a way to connect them all so I can just easily push a button or something. But because you get an idea with coax cables and different RCA's. I got my Atari is plugged into my VCR, plugged into my TV, and my what's the other one that's hooked up right now? I think the
Intellivision or ColecoVision.
Possibly even the 7800 is hooked up differently. So so they're all hooked up differently, and it's kind of I have to detach this and unscrew this, put this on video, change the channel to 2. It's kind of it's a little bit of work, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then I have fun, and then I have my whole thing of games sitting in front of me. The one thing I would like to investigate is getting some good shelving to display the games in a sense, so I can just kind of like reach over and be like, oh, Frostbite.
Yes,
and
yes,
just
exactly.
lock it in there, not because everything's in boxes right now, right? And it's kind of a pain. And I got like these old 8-track, if anybody remembers those, the 8-track suitcases, and they're slotted, and they hold Atari games quite nice. But my collection's so big, it's like I can only hold about 30 of them in there, and so then I got a shoe box, and then I got this box. So what I've been doing is I've been checking out our man caves. The ones that are posted on our site, and I'm seeing how people are doing it and what kind of shelving they're doing. And
well, that's the key. That's why we have the man cave, like the Louvre of man caves on our website, is so people can get inspiration.
Yeah,
it's not to be jealous of each other or look how much better that guy's stuff is. It's to get inspired.
Yeah, because I've noticed some people actually go to the effort of making custom shelving to properly fit games to their actual length and width, which I think would be cool. Because I was looking at, I don't know, I was at Walmart last couple of days ago, and I was looking at the shelving they have. Maybe they have some cheap shelving, but they do, but they're bookshelves. So you got about, what is that, about a foot of space in between each shelf.
Yeah.
And an Atari game is quarter of the size of that, So I just see a lot of wasted space there. So I don't know. Maybe I should investigate, try and get custom shelving made, or maybe I should just figure out some other way of doing it.
Or maybe check IKEA. They got some funky stuff that can be done.
IKEA too, yeah. I don't know. It's a challenge,
but that's part of the fun, though.
Yeah,
that's part of the fun.
How can I? Because it's not necessarily also just for ease of me grabbing stuff, but I'd also like it to look good.
Yeah, exactly.
So I could just leave them in boxes and stuff, and I posted a picture of my man cave under construction, and that's how it is right now. There's boxes, shoe boxes and stuff. Everything's just kind of, it looks like I just kind of slapped everything on the table and said, that's my man cave. I mean, if nobody's ever going to look at it, except me, maybe, but even still, I would like it to look good. And if someone comes into my basement, they're not going to be like, what is that pile of crap in the corner here? I'll be like, that's where I live.
You'll be proud to invite your friend over downstairs and play a couple of games of Atari and not worry about you're sitting in this weird dank basement.
And the other thing is, like, my wife really would like to get the basement finished one day, right? So I'm thinking, maybe if I just keep this temporary like this for now, we'll eventually be able to afford to build a basement down there with rooms and stuff, and I can actually have a room set up sort of like this, where I can actually have a couch, and I can actually have my coffee table there again, and actually build it back up to the way it was.
Yeah, I have it dedicated to your stuff.
Yeah, have the TV set up the way it is. Maybe even have a speaker. I don't have any of this stuff, so I don't even upstairs. Like we listen to our sound through the TV. Like I don't even have one of those fancy sound bars. Like everything just comes directly out of the TV. So. It'd be cool to have that one day, but I mean, I'm not part of that whole home theater mentality as like John is, so I just don't have it.
Okay, then I won't turn my system on and spoil you.
I'm looking at him like, gee, I don't have any of this.
No, and the good thing about the home theater stuff is you can build the stuff up, right? You don't have to go whole hog and spend, $20,000. A half decent receiver will cost you $400. A nice pair of speakers will cost you, the whole thing for under $1,000, and then just slowly build it. You have the TV already. You probably have a Blu-ray player already.
No.
PS3?
I got a CD player, a DVD player. I mean, not a CD player. I don't even have a CD player. Okay, I can't play a CD in my house.
Oh no, nobody does anymore.
No, that's not true. I have my parents gave me their old alarm clock and it plays CDs.
So do I.
I still don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it. But I mean, my wife's using that for her alarm clock. But yeah, we don't really have a CD player. I used to. I had a bunch back when I was in a band. We had a whole bunch of different things, and I had a CD player. But my daughter, when she was she's 2 or 3 at the time, she decided to start playing with the tape deck pieces, and all of a sudden, and she's like, "Look, Daddy," and it was like, "Oh, that's broken."
Yep.
And then she was playing, and "Oh, that's broken," and then somehow the CD player inside started scratching the discs, and I'm like, "That's it, to the curb," and I've just never had anything else to replace it. So, like, we just don't even have that sound system at all in our home. So if I want to listen to a CD, I'd probably have to pop into a DVD player or something and hope it works, or my computer, or I don't know.
Yeah, but everybody's doing it all digitally now.
Well, that's the thing. We got YouTube on the TV. We got Netflix. I can just put on whatever I want. Like for a while I was listening to Motorhead. One of their concerts. It was like 2005 concert called Stage Fright.
Yeah.
And I think that's a better sound quality than popping in a CD sometimes. So, and it's much more interesting to listen to it live like that. So. So I just kind of, even, on my computer or whatever, I'll listen to YouTube. I'll put on YouTube and I'll put on, like, an album or something on YouTube.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you don't even have to buy it. I buy CDs really just for my car now. Like, and even then, if I really wanted to, I could just use my iPod.
Yeah, exactly.
So
your phone, your iPod, or whatever, and use that.
I'm driving a really old car, so it's like a '99 Buick. And so I got the old-fashioned, that little plastic tape you stick into the tape deck holder, which plugs into your iPhone thing.
Yeah.
And so I use that sometimes, or just CDs, like just a single CD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like for me, I've ripped all my not my movie. Well, I have ripped my DVDs, not my Blu-rays, but I've also ripped all my CDs. So what I do, they're on this computer, and I stream everything to all the TVs.
Yeah.
By using the Roku box, and I use the Plex server, so everything just gets all over the place, it's a nice thing. And it's actually fairly easy and cheap to do. It's just time consuming, right?
And knowledge. You got to know what you're doing, and not everybody could do that type of thing.
I will help you, young grasshopper.
It's not like in the past where you plugged in your TV and it worked, right? Like, I don't know.
No, it's not like that. And those days are fucking gone.
Remember when you used to just plug a VCR into your TV and you'd put a tape in there and the TV knew the VCR was working, it would automatically turn. Now you can't do that, right? You're like, I need this remote, I have to put on video. This one over here I have to change to setting number 3. This one over here I have to turn on the player. And this, I mean, you have a minimum of 3 remotes. Minimum.
Yeah, you do.
You got to remember which one does what and how to program it and all the other.
And then there's the home theater people who are screaming at you right now saying, "Oh, you can get these remotes called Harmony or whatever, where you can program all that stuff in." But you know what?
One magic remote does it all.
Yeah, it does. Like like one button will it will say Blu-ray. It will literally turn on the TV, switch the input, do everything that you would do manually. But the thing is, you got to remember those steps. So when you program these stupid things, you got to do it, right? So you got to program all the steps in, update the device, try it out. If it doesn't work, fuck it. You got to go back and hook it up again and redo it.
I just keep the 3 remotes together, right? I got the 3 remotes. They just sit there. Well, I got more than that because I have a VCR hooked up because I still have VHS and. I'm one of those old school guys that says, why throw it away? I still got the old. I got old.
If it still works, why throw it away?
Well, that, and I guarantee you, I got a lot of VHS that have probably never been put onto DVD, and I'm not about to go and spend the money to convert them. And
like what? Like what?
No, just like old stuff that I've just collected throughout the years.
Okay.
Yeah, like old movies. I even have this. Actually, I should go look for it. It was pretty cool. I remember picking it up at one of the video stores before they went down. I think it was Rogers Video. They had this really old Atari or I don't know if it was just Atari, but it was video game classic games.
Yeah.
Which at the time wouldn't have been classic; it would have been just video games. But of tips and tricks on how to play and beat the game.
Yes, yes.
Which I thought was cool. I was like, but I guarantee you, I can't find that on TV. Maybe somebody might have uploaded it to YouTube at one point, but it's just really cool to have that. And I remember watching it. I was like, oh my god, like it's so cheesy, but it's cool. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And the guy's like, oh, how to
just like our podcast right now.
Cheesy but cool.
Like,
and the guy's like, how to beat Yar's Revenge. You know, it's like, whoa.
No, that's true, and a lot of people have that.
And,
they still have their Steven collects VHS tapes.
Yeah. I think there's a growing trend now. People, it's kind of like the phonograph records and stuff like that. Where we thought they disappeared, but they didn't, and they're coming back. And
yeah, they're coming back in a big way. Actually.
Yeah, they're more popular now than CDs, right? So it's just like this whole technology and the retro gaming, right? Like retro gaming became a thing, and people started watching like YouTube. People like the Angry Video Game Nerd and well, there's a number of them, anyways, and they,
including us,
they bring the stuff back. So I think everything just comes back, right? And
each generation goes through that. I've noticed, they go through sort of not a resurgence, but a retrospective of when they were younger or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like fashion, right?
And like the Atari and television, ColecoVision, that was a big part of us Gen Xers and Gen Yers, right? That's what we grew up with. So for us, it's important. So when we get to a certain age and we want to be nostalgic about this stuff, I mean, it's all right there. It's still around. It still fucking works.
It's funny to me because I don't even look at it as retro or nostalgia myself because it never went away, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, no, that's true.
It was always there. I always had my Atari or my television or my, I had I went through maybe, when was it? In early 2000s, maybe a little bit in the late 90s. I went through this thing where I was in my heyday because I was going to thrift shops all over the place, and I was just finding this stuff everywhere for really cheap. And I was just like, nobody cares about this stuff. I love this. So I'm like, I bought an Intellivision, the entire system for like $7, and I'm like,
what?
Yeah. And I bought I got tons of Atari games like Mario Brothers for $2,600 for 99 cents in Value Village.
You can't find that anymore.
No, it's gone. People have jumped on this retro bandwagon. And I guess they want to get it all, maybe for their man cave, maybe for selling it. I don't know what's going on. There's a resurgence of it, like you just said, and all of a sudden it's popular again. What's old is new. And so there was that phase where I thought, this is just great because I love these games and I love this system, and I'm just going to keep buying it because and now it's just like everybody's like, well, I'm going to buy it so I can sell it, or I'm going to buy it so I can just put it on a big, huge bookshelf and show it off to everybody and never play a game in my life. I don't know. I guess that's the resurgence, but
it's tough to say. Like for me, like back in the 90s and yeah, back in the 90s, actually in 87 when I moved here, I went away from console gaming, from the Ataris and stuff like that, and I PC gamed a lot. I did a lot of PC gaming. And then now, in the last 10 years, because of my son, I got back into
the Atari.
Into the Atari, and I started falling in love with it, and going back into the days of sitting there, like you said, in front of the TV and just firing away at whatever block is on the screen. Because quite honestly, I mean,
using your imagination.
Yeah, exactly. In the 2000s, there was a whole bunch of us playing on the PS3. Multiplayer games. I had a website that was dedicated to this group of people that we played every weekend type of thing. But it was fun. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. It was a ton of fun, but it got long in the tooth pretty quick because you get these 12-year-olds mouthing off on your earpiece. It's like, you know what? I just want to play a single-player game.
Yeah.
So then I switched to playing single-player games on the PS3, and then it's just like, you know what? Just to get some redeeming satisfaction from the game, I have to play 2 hours worth of the game. To play Atari and television and ColecoVision, all I need literally is 10 minutes. Half an hour if I'm good at the fucking game.
You can play like 5 games in that 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you turn off the thing and you feel satisfied. It's like, Yeah, had my fun. That's what I did last night.
No loading time in between cartridges either.
No firmware.
Pump,
no,
think,
no,
done.
no firmware updates
No,
when
no.
you turn on the bloody thing.
As long as your system works, you're good.
Yeah, you plug the thing in, you plug your cartridge in, turn it on, and it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes seconds. Not this like boot up to la 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 la. You know, and you have to deal with all that crap.
I think like when I guess realized that the console games were kind of going into the shitter, and I gave in and bought my my PlayStation and I bought a PS2, and like I probably said in some of my articles or even on the other podcasts that the majority of the time I played a lot of retro stuff, so I'd be buying the old, you know,
anthologies
and stuff. And I thought, this is silly because I got the real system down in the basement. I mean, unless it has games I don't own, that was the only thing that I thought of. But or if I just didn't want to hook it all up, and I thought, you know, I got the PlayStations ready, I just slap it in there and whatever. But I don't know, it's different to me, and it was. Never really caught my fancy, especially the newer games. I never bothered with them.
Okay, I admit I like the newer games, but I want to show you something. Hold on.
And I don't think they. And the other thing is, like, I like cartridge. I like the physical piece of the cartridge, and I think they look nice. I think when you have those cartridges sitting there, it looks much better than
having discs like this. Ow!
Don't kill yourself.
I stepped on the mic. So stuff like this, right?
PS3, yeah.
Okay, this, folks, I'm going to bring up closer. Okay. This is the Midway Arcade Origins. This fucking game is amazing. Okay.
Is it? Oh, it's okay.
It's
like
all arcade.
Rampage and Joust and what? It's got everything in there. Defender.
Yep. Stargate.
Marble Madness.
Yes.
Spy Hunter.
Yes.
I'd love to get that game for the 2600. Actually, that's one of those hard ones to get.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, this is great. This is great. But I mean, when you compare that to a physical cartridge,
but it's totally different because these are direct ripoffs of the ROMs for the arcade, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's like you can do the same thing with MAME. It's exactly the same thing. But the reason why I like this is just it brought back the nostalgia and the way they have the main screen and it shows you each cabinet type of thing all dressed up. And honestly, I love the version of Robotron on here. And I'm very conflicted about getting the Robotron version for the 7800. It's like, should I get it for the 7800 for the sake of getting it? Or I love it so much on this.
Yeah, that's a good question, too.
And it's harder on the 7800 unless you have one of, you know, you have a contraption that can hold both joysticks together. Or you get one of Ed Aladdin, who makes his own joysticks that has that... forget what it's called. The 78 Super that has the two players on one box, and then you can use those two joysticks.
That'd be cool
to play Robotron, and it's like arcade joysticks made for the 7800 and the 2600.
Yeah, like if you play Raiders of the Lost Ark on the 2600, you need to know how to use two controllers at the same time.
Well, yeah, and what else was there? I was playing last night. That's Stargate. It's another stupid Solaris. To kick up the you can wait till you finish the wave to bring up the star map to jump somewhere else, or you can press the button on the other joystick. So what I did is, because I play on my 7800, I turned because the joystick, you know how long it is, I flipped it to its side and used it as a foot pedal. Because every time I press the joystick with my foot, it's like, oop, there goes the map.
That must have looked impressive.
It looks stupid, but I don't care.
I got my joystick down here. I got my.
Well, I'm not playing down here, eh? Everything's in my son's room.
Oh.
So he's got like a little 37-inch high definition TV.
The little TVs, right?
Yeah, a little TV, and we have it set up so it shows proper 4x3, and we got it hooked up there. And in his bed, I can lean up against it. The console's in front of me, and then if I stretch my legs, I can just barely touch the TV stand. So everything's there, and that's why I can use it as a foot pad.
Just imagine all these things hanging from. No.
Yeah, exactly. But Ed's joysticks and stuff are really cool, and I really want to get one once I get some money saved up. But that's going to be a little bit of time. But anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
Where are we? We're at the 44-minute mark. we should start closing up the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we didn't do too much of a house cleaning, but I just want to talk about sending in since this topic is on man caves and just getting people to send in more man caves because people love it, and that's what I've noticed. Like whenever we get some, like, especially the really nice ones, they just take off. Like people just go nuts, and so we. Like I've constantly been sending out on different groups and stuff that, we're looking for your man cave, and I've been speaking with a few people. A lot of times people are like, oh, I'm going to send it in, I'm still working on it, and I understand that's a great. I don't want you to have to send it in if it's not ready. And I think I got about 4 or 5 people that said they're going to be sending in their man cave, so it's really great. And we do have a few other things, like we have your what do you call it? Your best memories or your memories of retro gaming.
Yeah.
Again, we just had one not too recently, and people love it. Like people have just been hitting it. And
they bring tears to my eyes for crying out loud. I read these things and I see myself in this person's story. It's like, you were, this person's in the States, I'm in Canada, but we shared the same... Exactly. The same thing,
and a lot of the comments are coming up, like, it's like, oh, I used to do that too. I used to love doing that. Or, oh, God, I miss my Commodore 64, things like that. And people really love it. So if you have a story, if you have anything, like if you just remember playing a game all the time, or if you remember playing a specific system all the time, or maybe if it was something you wish you always had, we'd love to hear it, because... That's the stuff that people really like to see on this site.
Yeah, absolutely.
They like to, I can write articles all day long, and it's just my opinion, and people want to hear other people's experiences, right?
Exactly.
And it's the same with the man caves. People like to see it. I mean, we can put our own stuff up there, but it's the community aspect that people really enjoy.
Yeah. So if you're feeling nostalgic and you're sitting there, in front of your computer going through Facebook, shoot us off a quick email. Yeah. Like if something hits you, just shoot us off a quick email. It doesn't have to be perfect spelling and anything. Just we want to feel what you felt.
And then finally, to add to that, I guess to finish off here, further podcasts. So we would like to. I just put out a little post not too long ago, but doing a podcast your way in a sense. What would you like us to talk about? What kind of things do you think would be cool? Anything you could throw at us, it would be awesome. I mean, we can probably come up with 1,000 stories ourselves. But,
yes.
I'd like to get more, robust and actually have some good content that people really want to hear.
And make it interactive, just like how we're doing now with YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So if people have something they want us to talk about, they can put us a message, say, hey, guys, can you talk about, whatever. This particular game, what do you guys feel about it? Yeah. And we can talk about it. Or John, what kind of speakers do you have there, and why did you pick them? Just stuff like that.
Yeah. And even if it just turns out to be a quick,
2-second
shout out thing, or answering a Q&A or something, we'd love to hear it. And that way, it just cuts away from us just blabbing on and just talking about our own experiences. That's cool and all, but I think you guys out there would love to hear other things, and we'd be happy to discuss it. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as of today's experiment on YouTube, we have 3 viewers watching live. Woohoo! Thanks,
you guys rock.
You 3 people are the best. We love you guys. Why? Come on, it's a love fest. We're all here. It's a community. The man cave.
If you're watching it live, then please put a comment or something and say, "Hey, I watched you guys." I'd love to know what you thought about it.
Yeah, and before we close this off, I just want to mention dust.
Got flies or what?
And there's some dust. All I want to mention is I want to shout out again to Mary Jensen in Nova Scotia for sending my family some little gifts. I don't want to go into the ones that are more personal, but she took out of her own collection. Okay, and Mary's like one of our best customers for our store, our number one best customer, and she sent a copy of River Raid 2.
Oh, I love that game.
That she found in her town in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and she sent it to my son.
Cool.
Okay.
I had that as a kid. I wished I had it.
I was playing
Got
it.
another one, Mary?
No, she doesn't. That's why if I find it, I'm sending it to her free too. Like I'm giving it to her because I feel kind of bad that she did that. Even though Mary, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. I've said thank you 100 times, but we're doing it here live on the podcast. So yeah, it was very touching, to say the least. So yeah, on that note, is there anything else, Brian, you want to bring up?
No, I think I've said enough.
Okay, and so on that note, the man cave
Is closed.